Do you hear that? That sound is something we hear every day, but people in sub-Saharan Africa don't hear that. Water. It's life's most basic need, but there is a water crisis in our world right now. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. It's happening all over the world, especially in developing areas of sub-Saharan Africa. It's a water crisis because it starts with water, but water affects everything: education, health, poverty, and especially women and children. The women and children go off to collect water. Many walk up to 3 hours a day to the nearest pond, river, or swamp to gather water that's been sitting out in the open, exposed to all kinds of germs. Time spent gathering water is time they can't spend learning to read, write, earn an income, or take care of their family. Some women in sub-Saharan Africa spend more time collecting water than anything else they do in a day. And that walk isn't just hard, it's also dangerous. Sometimes they get attacked along the way. And when they get home, the water they've collected isn't clean. Some families know their water is contaminated with germs that cause diarrhea, dehydration, and even death, but they still use it. Kids, especially babies, are affected most by these germs. About every 60 seconds, a child dies because of a water-related disease. More people have mobile phones than a toilet in Africa, and 1 in 9 people lack access to clean water sources. 82% of those who lack access to improved water live in rural areas, while just 18% live in urban areas. Think of the difference that could be made if clean water sources were made by these rural areas. At any given time, 50% of all hospital beds in the world are occupied by patients suffering from water-related diseases. Most of those are in Africa. Universal access to water and sanitation will result in an estimated $32 billion in economic benefits per year globally from reductions in healthcare costs and increased productivity from reduced illness.
I've met people in a number of different countries who are impacted by the water crisis, and there are some pretty incredible moments. A year or two ago in Ethiopia, sitting in over a hand-dug well and watching these children who were pulling water out of this filthy hole that basically the water looked like chocolate milk. And we actually put a shot up on our website of a clean bottle of water next to one of these bottles of water to give people an idea of just how filthy the water was. And to see these kids who were collecting that water in containers so that they could take it to school, so that they'd have something to drink during school. And it was just deeply affecting to know that this is water that was so dirty that it was guaranteed to, talking to some of the villagers there, they knew quite well the number of children who had died in that area from drinking this type of water. So they were aware of the dangers of drinking that water, but they just didn't have a choice. And to be standing there with these kids and watching these little kids, the age of my children, smiling and taking this water that could and would, in some cases, make them very sick or even kill them, was a very deeply disturbing moment. And Gary White actually said to me at that moment, he saw me and he said, "I know you just want to smack it out of their hands, don't you?" I said, "But what's the alternative? It's then they're dead within a few days because they've got nothing to drink." And so, to know that you're there in a place like that and 20 feet under your feet is there's water right there. They just can't get to it. That was a very kind of that had a pretty big impact on me.
The water crisis is solvable though. There are solutions. Some are brand new and innovative like water filtration systems. Some are age-old like drilled or hand-dug wells. These solutions bring clean water much closer to the people who need it. A safe water project near a village can restore hours each day to a person's life. Africa alone could save 40 billion hours this year if the water crisis is solved. Clean water means less disease, which means less money spent on medicine, which means more money for other things. Africa's GDP would increase almost 4% each year if clean water was provided to everyone. With a $5 donation, you will receive a Save a Life water bottle. This money goes to building new wells and other sources of clean water in places that desperately need it. Because water changes everything.